Well, hello there. Welcome back to Electrified Outdoors. I have it from a reliable source that you may be interested in towing with your electric truck. Well, if so, you're in luck. Today, we're going to take a 2,000-mile road trip from Maryland to Orlando, Florida and back. We're going to find out just how well the Silverado EV can do towing this over 8,000-pound box on wheels travel trailer all that way. So I'm going to go over the efficiency with you. I'm going to show you what my efficiency is. We're also going to look at Car Scanner Pro. I'll have links down in the video description. I'll also have chapters down below this video where you can skip over certain sections if those are not really of interest to you. I do get into some nerdy details with the Car Scanner Pro app, where I can look at the thermals of the batteries, I can look at the amount of energy consumed, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm also going to put in my charging costs, and I'm going to compare it to the identical road trip that I did in the summertime, so we can compare a summertime August trip with an October fall trip to see if there's any difference. But before we get started, if you're new here, my name is Ken, and I make videos about living and adventuring with electric vehicles. If that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and click the like button down below. It helps others find our content easier on YouTube. Click on subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming content. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Electrified Outdoors. We're gonna pick up, this is the beginning of our trip. We're towing at night this time to try to make accessing chargers much easier, and also so we have more room on the road and all that kind of stuff. I've reset my trip meter, and I'm also going to be looking at my Car Scanner Pro app to see what the efficiency and all the numbers are over there. I'm going to put chapters down below this video, so in some of the sections where I get into more detail, if you don't care about the detail and you just want the nitty-gritty, you can skip over that. But we're starting out here, looks like I'm averaging 0.9 miles per kilowatt hour. I am keeping it to 60 miles an hour. And as you can see, I have Super Cruise enabled. And I'm here in the far right lane on I-70. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through both legs of this trip. I'm gonna try to do both legs of this trip. But on the way down and on the way back, we're gonna stop at this really cool little campground called the Outside Inn Campground. It's in Santee, South Carolina. So we're gonna stop down there, but we're setting out. We left about an hour and a half later than we really wanted to, but I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference because we have to get there later in the morning to check in. I've reset my trip meter, so we're just gonna continue driving here, and we'll pick up with you when we get to the first charging stop. Okay everyone, so I'm checking back in with you again, and it's telling us we've got 168 miles to go to get to Emporia, and we've only got 137 miles of range. So that's not gonna work. We're gonna have to stop before we get to Emporia. So I need to try to find some chargers that are close there. It's saying we're gonna get there with 7%, which that's the thing with the Silverado EV. Google Maps built in. The truck is very accurate at predicting the mileage that you can go when you're towing. It's very accurate. So this says 137 miles, and I believe that. This does not really know how much battery you're gonna have. I'm not sure why there's a disconnect, but this is saying we have to go 167, and it looks like we're gonna be about 30 miles short, so we're gonna have to stop before Emporia. I'm quite a bit short on range to get all the way to Emporia. Currently, it's telling me I have 109 miles of range, and I have 148 miles to go to get to Emporia. So what I'm gonna need to do, and I need to slow down here. It's going a little bit too fast. I've got this trailer dialed in so well at this point that I really can't tell how fast I'm going. I was doing almost 70 there. And surprised how much traffic is on the road. It's 12:30 in the morning on a Saturday, Friday night into Saturday morning, 12:30 a.m. Still a lot of traffic out here. But I need to find another charger that's closer. And when we're towing, we don't want to wait until the very last minute, because if we do that, we may not have enough range to get to a different charger. So I'm going to bump this back down to 60. And hopefully this doesn't scream at me here, but I'm going to try to find another charger.
A few moments later.
So I'm going to go down here and try to search. And let's say charging stations. And I've used Richmond before, so we may have to stop there and try to charge. I think we're going to try to stop in Richmond. This is one of those situations where it's really useful to have a navigator that's able to look for charging stations while you're driving. That's the only downside to this, because I can't just take any old charging station. I want to have a station that's going to be able to accommodate the trailer, or at least where I can pull in and block a couple chargers and get a charge going. So I've been to Richmond before, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in as a stop. And we'll see what that says. Confirm. That looks a little bit better. 71 miles. We have 104 miles of range. That means we're going to have about 30 miles, a little over 30 miles to spare. So I think Richmond is going to be the first stop. Okay, everyone. So I'm about 8 miles away from the Richmond Electrify America charging station. And I'm at 14% state of charge, and at 15%, the battery icon turned orange on me to let me know that I really need to charge soon, and it gave me that message. But by my calculations, I should arrive at the Richmond Electrify America with about 10% state of charge to spare. And so far, my average has dropped back down to 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. That's exactly what it was on the last trip. So we'll have to see if that improves. Our ambient temperature is dropping a bit. It's fluctuating between 50 degrees Fahrenheit and 55 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, everyone, so we're getting ready to get off the exit here.
83B for Virginia 73 West, Parham Road.
See how we do here. 83B is what we want. Now this station is typically very, very busy during the day, and even at night I've seen it pretty darn busy, but it is 1:40 in the morning right now, so hopefully it's not too busy. Regen braking is working really well.
Merge onto Virginia 73 West, East Parham Road, then use the second from the left lane to turn left. At the light, use the second from the left lane to turn left.
This station we've been to before, and as long as it's not really busy, I can pull up. It is a pull-up charger, but I can pull up kind of on an angle and plug in without blocking a lot of the other chargers. So that's what I'm hoping to do here. And as predicted, I have 11% state of charge, so I should pull up there with at least 10%. And I won't need to stop at my next stop. I should be able to make it all the way through to Kenly after stopping and charging here.
In 600 feet, turn right.
So the chargers are over there. Let's see if we can get out of here. Don't normally come in this way, so let's see if I can swing around here. Nice wide turns. Well, surprise, surprise, doesn't look like there's anybody here charging. And I'm glad, because the truck is out of range and my bladder is out of range.
Your destination is on the right.
And it's about time to charge up. And here we are, and it says I have a software update. Now, another thing too, the whole time I've been driving here, it's been screaming at me about the trailer connector. So I'm gonna have to check that as well. It looks like it might have a loose connection. Well, let's see if we can get this charging session started. Okay, that was interesting trying to get this session started, but looks like we're getting 321 kilowatt, 322 here at 10% state of charge, and we're gonna charge it up probably to 80% and then move on to the next stop. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our numbers here. If I go into my trip meter, you can see that I'm averaging 0.9 miles per kilowatt hour. I went 159.6 miles and I still had 10% charge left. Not quite enough to get all the way to Emporia, but that's fine. Charging here, I should still be able to get to Kenly without much of an issue. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna get the GM Energy Charger in Kenly. And that one is a pull-through. All right, it's a Flying J Travel Center. We've got to go 160 miles to get there. So we're gonna put that in as our next stop. Charged up to about 78% here. And we're gonna head to Kenly, which is a GM Energy Charger. And it's gonna be a little tricky getting out of here. So, we're gonna head to Kenly. That's a really nice pull-through charger. And I'll catch up with you guys when we get there. Well, I spoke too soon. We pulled out of here, and what I thought was 130 miles was actually 160 miles. The Google Maps had actually added in a charging stop and didn't tell me. So we had to turn back around, come back here, plug in a little bit more. I'm gonna charge it up to 90% here so we don't have to stop again, and then we're off to Kenly. So let's see how we do. It says we've got to go 160 miles, and at 88%, it's showing me 179 miles. Okay, everyone, I'm checking in here. It's 20 after 5, and we've got about 25 miles to go. Now, I know at the last stop, even though I added more energy, I lost all the extra buffer that I had, and I was getting down to where the miles it said I needed to go and the miles it said I had left in range were matching. And then for a couple of moments there, it actually dropped below. So what I did is I slowed down to 55, and I slowed down to 55 for a good period of time, and I was able to get a 6-mile buffer back. And now I've got 24 miles to go, and it says I've got 30 miles of range. So probably not really good that I'm stretching it this far, but that's a good example of how if you get in a bind and you're running low on energy, you simply slow your speed down. So I was doing 60, I slowed it down to 55, and if you are still short on energy, you slow it down again to like 50. And usually that'll let you get to your destination without running out of charge. But anyway, I was able to get some range back. I bumped it back up to 57, and we've got 24 miles to go. So I'll check in with you guys when we get to the Flying J in Kenly, North Carolina. All right, everyone, so I've been cutting it really close here. I dropped my speed back down to 55. I've got the climate control off. I have 3% state of charge left, and I've only got 1.7 miles to go. So I think I'm gonna be okay, but just goes to show, especially when it starts getting a little cooler outside, that even the GM guessometer can't be relied upon 100%. But I am still averaging 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. That seems to be what I do all day long with this trailer. And this is a really nice pull-through station, which I wish all EV chargers along highways were pull-through this way, because this makes it really easy when you're towing a trailer. I'm down to 2% now, so I'm barely squeaking in here.
Slide left onto the ramp to Truck Stop Road, then turn left onto Truck Stop Road.
Left on the Truck Stop Road.
At the stop sign, turn left onto Truck Stop Road.
All right, let's go here.
In a quarter mile, you will arrive at your destination. You have arrived.
All right, we have arrived. I'm gonna have to go around this guy because he's sitting right in the middle of where I need to go. Yeah, we're gonna try to pull up here. All right. Is that one working over there? I think it's working. All right, we are here and we have 2% state of charge left. So let's see if we can get a charging session going. All right, let's see if we can get this. See what we got here. It should just be plug and charge. Although, I'm gonna have to do this a different way because I'm one-handed. All right, let's see if we can get this going here. While we're waiting for that, we can take a look around at this station here. It really is a nice station. And it looks like the charging session has started. Now, I did not precondition because the state of charge was so low. But it's ramping up pretty good. Not sure if you can see that. Yeah, we're gonna get full speed. 330 kilowatt. But let's take a look around this station. This is a Pilot Flying J. There's the Pilot over there. And here we have the GM Energy. And this is Bertha the travel trailer here. I'll show you guys more of this later. It's kind of early in the morning, but let's take a look at our numbers. Okay, so that quick, we went from 2% to 6%. And I'm still getting that message about trailer wiring. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'm gonna have to look into that further. This is the first time I'm towing a long distance with this software update. So I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it. And I'm actually getting alerted that there's a software update available right now, over-the-air software update, which I was surprised about. But let's go into our vehicle status and have a look at our trip so far. So you can see we've gone 321.4 miles and we have an average of 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So not too bad. This is about exactly what we did the last time we took the truck and the trailer to Disney. 0.8 was the average. So with an 8,000 plus pound trailer like this, that's probably pretty safe to expect that 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. And we're gonna go into our car scanner dashboard here. And when I look at driving and accessories energy usage, 377 kilowatt hours. Thermal management used 6 kilowatt hours. And our total charge cycle energy usage is 383 kilowatt hours. And we've gone 336 miles since the last full charge. So car scanner's really given us some good data. Let's see if I can look at the thermals and see how those are doing. These are my voltages. So everything is really cool, except our second drive motor and our primary drive motor look like they're about 130, 136 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not too bad considering we're towing such a large trailer. And the battery is sitting at about 98.6. So pretty cool stuff. We'll get more into this later on, but for now we're going to charge up here, reevaluate our trip, and see what the next charging stop's going to be. All right, everyone, so we're getting ready to get off at our last charging stop for today.
Take exit 170.
We're going to stop at the Buc-ee's in Florence, South Carolina. And wow, that is really an oversized load right there. Jeez. What the heck even is that?
Take exit 170.
Now we've got two options at this charging stop. We've got Tesla and we've got the Mercedes chargers. Now, the Mercedes chargers are going to be the fastest.
327 North Williston Road.
They're 400 kilowatt chargers. Tesla's chargers are going to be 400 volts, so they're going to be less desirable. But we don't have to charge that much. And then we'll be getting to the outside-in campground to get some R&R.
At the stop sign, turn right onto South Carolina 327 North Williston Road, then turn right onto DR's Bruce and Lee Foundation Boulevard. Your destination is on the right.
All right, let's see if I can pull up catty corner on this. There's a Mercedes pulling in here. Yeah. Let's see if I can get right up to this charger. He's going to that one. This should be long enough to reach, I would think. So the Mercedes chargers work really well. 364 kilowatt here. Really, really nice. This thing is definitely maxing out. 365 kilowatt. If I go over here, it says I'm charging at 748 miles per hour. So really, really good. These Mercedes chargers work really, really, really well. All right, everyone. So we're here at the outside-in campground. We made it. We're gonna rest here for the day. And then tonight, we're gonna start out overnight again and get to our final destination at Fort Wilderness in Disney. I also did an update on the vehicle. I'll post a picture up of that update. GM just released that on October 2nd. It does some updates to the battery management system. I'll put more details of that up in photos and also down in the video description. Let's take a quick look at our trip so far. It's about what I expected. So trip 2 is the trip that we set. Our average over 543.3 miles is 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. About what I expected. Now, a lot of the energy usage, the majority of the energy usage, as I showed you earlier in the video, was from the vehicle's driving and its accessories. And then we had a small amount that was from thermal management. Now, the app I'm using, you may have seen other YouTubers use it, or if you've been on the Facebook groups and the forums for the Silverado or Sierra EVs, you may have heard of it there. It's something called Car Scanner Pro. Now, you do have to pay for the app. It's available either in the Apple App Store or on Android devices. But you also need an OBD2 reader. Now, I have the OBD MX Link Plus. I'll put a link to that down in the video description. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is load up my dashboard. Nerdy stuff alert. If you're not interested in all the nerdy details, you can go ahead and use the chapters down below to skip over this section. So as you can see in the top left is my average speed, and then we have the cycled energy gain. So We've gained 14 miles in regenerative braking so far on the trip. 14 miles, that's not too bad. The charge cycle energy used for driving and accessories. So far we've used 623 kilowatt hours of energy. Okay, and that makes sense. We've gone 543.3 miles and we got 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. The total energy usage was 637 kilowatt hours. And we had 14 kilowatt hours that were used for thermal management. Now it did get pretty cool overnight. And so that was why on the one leg we saw a significantly reduced range number. But then as soon as it got up close to 60 degrees again, the truck was behaving normally and got its anticipated range. The other item here, distance since last full charge, 558 miles. When I got on the road, I didn't reset the trip meter right away, so there was a couple miles missing. But mainly I did the trip meter just to show you guys what my average is across this whole trip. So tonight we'll be back on the road again on our way to Fort Wilderness.
Later that night.
And our first charging stop is going to be at the Rivian Adventure Network in Pooler, Georgia. This is at the Tangier outlets. And we shouldn't have too much traffic there. It's 10:30 at night, and let's see when it says we will get there. It says we're going to get there around midnight. So should be minimal traffic there, and they do have a charger that you can pull up to and alongside if you have a trailer. I looked at it ahead of time. So I'll catch up with you when we get closer to our first charging stop. Okay, everyone, so we're getting ready to get off at our first charging stop. This is going to be the Rivian Adventure Network in Pooler, Georgia.
Half mile. Take exit 104.
We got about a half mile here. So I think the best way to get in here is probably going to be to go around that way. I think I got it. Yeah, it's not a great pull-through spot, but it's pretty good. Now let's see how we activate a Rivian charger with a non-Rivian vehicle. All right, so it looks like we plug in our Rivian to charge, or for other vehicles, we're gonna tap the payment card below. So I'm going to try to tap my payment card now. It's a Visa card. It looks like it's approved. Plug in the charge. And I've already got the port open. Try to do this one-handed. So let's see what happens over here. Starting. This may take a minute. And it looks like it's charging. We'll see how fast it charges. Up to 50 kilowatt already. Now, I think Rivian chargers can do up to 300 kilowatt, but it's unclear to me if they support 800 volt architecture. And, well, it looks like they do, because if they didn't, I'd be maxing out at about 180 kilowatt. No, Rivian definitely supports 800 volt, up to 300 kilowatt. Pretty cool. And let's go ahead and tap for the pricing info at this charger. Not too bad. So we're getting it for 44 cents per kilowatt hour because we're charging between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. So it looks like they have demand pricing there. So this is what the charging station looks like. It's at the Tangier outlets here in Pooler, Georgia. And it's about midnight right now, so there's not too many people here. But this is the pull through, so pretty good. And I'm hoping when I pull out of here, I pulled in over there. I'm hoping when I pull out of here that I can pull out over there and out. Wish it was a little wider, but we'll deal with it. Let's go ahead and take a look at our statistics up to this point. We're getting about 300 kilowatt, which I'm really happy with here. Get back to our trip meter. You can see we're still averaging 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. We're up to 651.1 on the trip. So we're going to charge here, and then the final charging stop is going to be at the Flying J station. I believe it's in St. Augustine, Florida. I have to go back and look at my app. But that should be another pull through. So it should all be downhill from here getting to Fort Wilderness. Okay, everyone. So we charged up to 90%. And of course, we're driving at night, so it's been really, for the most part, uneventful. We stopped off at the Buc-ee's and got some snacks, and I got a coffee so I could stay awake and stay alert. And I'm actually slowing down quite a bit because I've only got 5% battery left, and I need to go 11 more miles. And it's saying I'm going to have 2% when we arrive at the charger. So wish me luck that the next part of the video that you see is not broken down on the side of the road with a dead battery. But I'm hoping I'll make it there. It's a nice pull-through charger. And it'll be our last charging stop before we get to Disney's Fort Wilderness. And it's telling me that I need to stay alert. But yep, see you guys in a couple of minutes, hopefully at a charger charging up. All right, this is way too stressful. We're at 0%. I'm hoping I got enough energy to get in here.
Your destination is on the left.
All right, I'm hoping I got enough energy to get in here. I think I do. Oh, we barely did this. Barely got this going. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Let's get out and get this thing plugged in. Thank you, Jesus, that we didn't run out of battery. All right, so we have 0% battery. You see that 0% state of charge there. So let's see how much juice I'm gonna get. I kind of just pulled in here because I was afraid to stop, that I might not be able to start again. But we're charging, thank goodness.
Your site is not quite ready yet, and then they'll send you a text as soon as it is. Perfect. So you can go and get set up.
Okay, everyone, well, it is raining. But we did make it. We actually made it early this morning, and we had to sit in the overflow lot for a while because we drove at night and check-in wasn't until 3. We had to wait for the site to become available. They let us in like a little bit after 1. It was before 2, so we're good. But we're on the site now, and we made it. So let's check out our full numbers for the trip down. So I'm going to go into my vehicle status. And when I go into my trip meter, trip number 2 shows us that we've gone 954.4 miles And our overall average for the entire trip, big surprise, 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So that seems to be the standard for this Imagine 2970 RL is 0.8. Sometimes it does a little bit better than that, but that's pretty much what you can expect for this type of trailer. Now, a lot of trailers will be different, but travel trailers are going to be the worst possible range because they're large boxes on wheels and they block all the air as you're going down the road. Something that sits lower than the top of the truck will do better. A flat trailer will do better, and so on. But let's also take a look at our Car Scanner Pro. So let me go into my app here and I'll get you the complete numbers there. Okay, so here we are in the Car Scanner Pro. I'm just going to go into my dashboard, and this is the dashboard that I've been using to collect all of my energy usage data. So we have the charge cycle energy gain, so the total amount of energy in miles. So the total amount of energy in miles that we gained back from regenerative braking was 21 miles. For driving and accessories, we used a total of 1,081 kilowatt hours. Thermal management alone took 27 kilowatt hours of energy. So the total amount of kilowatt hours used to make this trip towing this big travel trailer down here was 1,114 kilowatt hours. And since the last full charge, so basically since we left, we've gone 969 miles. So remember I told you I reset my trip meter after I'd already gotten on the highway. Well, this app did not reset. So after I charged it to 100%, it kept track of the mileage. So the total mileage was 969 miles. Don't think I should have had that loaded brownie before going on the Tron ride. Okay, everyone, so now we're on the trip back to Maryland. I'm going to reset my trip meter, and I'm also using the light this time. So the video footage on the way down is probably not going to have a lot of my front camera footage because it was dark and I, like an idiot, I didn't turn the lights on. So anyway, I'm going to fix that this time around. But let's go ahead and go into our vehicle status here. And I'm going to reset the trip meter. So our trip 2, again, this is our efficiency on the way down and our total mileage. So I'm going to go ahead and reset that. And this time we're going to do it for the way back. And I actually put ABRP on here, but I don't know if it's going to show me my route. It may not. For some reason, I can't get ABRP to work properly on here. So we're just going to use the Google Maps. And our first stop, we're just going to reverse the route down to try to make it as close as possible. We're going to hit the Flying J, that's that pull through in St. Augustine, Florida.
Head southeast toward Fort Wilderness Trail, then slight right.
So we've got
Fort
116 miles to go. The guessometer is saying 206 miles of range towing this trailer. So I think we got plenty of range to get there. The big question is going to be from St. Augustine to Pooler, Georgia. But anyway, I'll catch up with you guys at the next charging stop. Okay, everyone, so we have about an hour to go, 67 miles. It's been raining a little bit. I have been using Super Cruise, and we're averaging 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Just about the same as I did on the way down and on the previous trip. So I'll catch up with you guys in about an hour at the Flying J in Jacksonville. Okay, everyone, so we're getting ready to get off here at our first charging stop. It's obviously pouring down rain. I have been using Super Cruise as much as possible, and I've been keeping it right around 60. But I'm doing 0.7 for the last mile. I have to look at my trip meter when we get off here, but it's kind of tough to see.
Take the next left, then your destination will be on the left.
And this is a nice pull-through station as well, so
your destination is on the left.
I'm gonna pull right through to the middle stall just like I did the last time. I'm thinking I probably should have pulled in the other way, but it is what it is. All right, so let me get out, get plugged in, and we'll take a look at some numbers. All right, everyone, so I am a little wet. It's really rainy outside, and I obviously didn't prepare for this. I'm still in my short sleeves and shorts. But anyway, back here inside the vehicle, I was planning to go all the way to Pooler, Georgia, which is about 180 miles from Jacksonville here. But right now, with the efficiency being lowered because of this rain, it's telling me 100% I'm only going to be able to go 185 miles. So I may decide to add an additional charging stop in there just to be on the safe side. I don't want a repeat of what happened on our way down here. So I may do that. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet, but it's looking like I will. Let's go ahead and have a look at our efficiency so far. And when we go into our trip meter, you can see we've gone 116.2 miles, and we're averaging 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So 0.8 of a mile per kilowatt hour. And again, this has been what we've averaged all the way down here and what we averaged the trip before this one. So 0.8 seems to be a pretty reliable result from the Silverado EV here, towing this Imagine 2970 RL travel trailer, which again is about 8,000 pounds dry. The next stop is probably going to be before Pooler though, because I don't know if I want to risk it again with the weather that we're having right now. So I'll check in with you guys at the next charging stop. Okay, everyone, so I've decided we're not going to risk it trying to get all the way to Pooler in this driving rain like this. It's too much of a risk. So plus I would have had to charge to near 100% back there. So I charged up to 81%, and we're going to stop in Brunswick, Georgia at the Tesla Supercharger there. That's about 112 miles from where we are now. And we'll charge a little bit there and not have to stress about running the battery really low again. But anyway, I'm going to pay attention to this driving rain, and I'll catch up with you guys when we get to the next charging stop. Okay, everyone, so I'm just checking in with you. We're about 9 miles away from the Brunswick, Georgia Tesla Supercharger, and I have a lot less range than I thought I was going to. We're dealing with some really strong winds. Last time I looked, it was 13-mile-an-hour winds, and I can feel it kind of blowing the trailer around a little bit. And obviously my efficiency is dramatically affected as well. So my efficiency meter for the last mile has been steadily reading 0.6 miles per kilowatt hour. We'll check it when we get to our stop, but I kind of expected that because it was pouring rain for a good while, and we are also dealing with these high winds. And I know that the winds are blowing not in my favor because of my efficiency numbers. If the winds were blowing at my back, I would probably be getting somewhere along the lines of 1 to 1.1 miles per kilowatt hour. So the wind is definitely working against me. If this holds up, I should pull in there with about 5% battery. We'll charge a little bit there, and then we're going to move on to Pooler, Georgia. So I'll catch up with you guys when we get to the Brunswick Supercharger. Okay, everyone, so we're getting ready to get off here. Exit 38 for the Brunswick, Georgia Supercharger.
In a half mile, take exit 38 for Georgia 25 Spur, Golden Isle.
Started drizzling again.
17, Brunswick.
I have a real hard time seeing out here.
In half a mile, turn right onto Millennium Boulevard.
But I've been to this Supercharger before, so I kind of have an idea of where it is. And this will allow me to just pull up, and then I'll have to do a minimal amount of backing with the trailer attached. A minimal amount. But this will allow me to get plugged right into the Silverado. So let me get out, get everything connected up, and we'll take a look at all the numbers. Okay, everyone, so we're charging here. I'm only getting about 95 kilowatt, though we didn't precondition before we got here, so that might have had something to do with it. Hopefully this picks up a little bit of speed, because that's not really very fast. Let's take a look at our numbers. So we've gone 231.4 miles, and because of the last leg with the 0.6 pretty much the whole time, obviously that's dropped our average down to 0.7. We have 5% state of charge. So let's see how much further we have to go to get to Pooler, Georgia. So I'm going to put Pooler, the Rivian in Pooler, Georgia. There it is. Okay. And it doesn't tell me how many miles it is, which I really don't like this about the Google Maps. It doesn't tell me how many miles away it is. It tells me how long of a drive it is and tells me all about the charging, but it doesn't tell me how many miles away it is until I actually hit start. And the problem is, with me being at only 6%, it's going to add a charging stop, which can get confusing. So let me go into ABRP, into my route plan, and see how much further it is from Brunswick here. So it looks like I'm only going to have to go 67 miles to get to the Rivian Adventure Network Charger in Pooler, Georgia. So I'm going to charge up here until I have probably about 100 miles of range shown on the display. And then I'll probably disconnect and head on to Pooler, Georgia. I'm going to want to have at least 30 extra miles. Maybe I might even do 40 because of the winds and the rain the way it is, just to make sure I'm not putting myself in an unsafe situation. I'm going to open up my Car Scanner Pro and see what my numbers are there. And right now I can see that my energy usage for driving and accessories so far is 302 kilowatt hours. I've only regained 3 miles through regenerative braking. So I've been using Super Cruise a lot, so that's probably why I'm not doing a whole lot of regenerative braking. And then I lost 5 kilowatt hours of energy so far in thermal management. So the total energy I've used so far on this trip is 307 kilowatt hours. And one other thing I want to check on here is my thermals. The battery doesn't look hot. Ambient temperature reported on the display here is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Reported from the vehicle's computer, it's 69.8 as the ambient. My battery is ranging somewhere between 94 and 97 degrees, and the charge coupler is about 90 degrees. So those are my thermals. So this doesn't look like a thermal D-rate, but again, this is a Tesla Supercharger V3, so it's not capable of 800 volt. So the max I would see here anyway would be 180 kilowatt. So I'll check in with you guys when we get to Pooler, Georgia. That'll be the next charging stop, and hopefully we do a little better on efficiency than what we did on the way here. Okay, everyone, so we're getting ready to get off at Pooler, Georgia. We've got about 2 miles to go. Again, on this leg, 0.6 miles per kilowatt hour, and I figured out that we have a headwind between 12 and 15 miles an hour, so pretty strong headwind, and we're heading north and it's blowing south, just barely like southeast, I think, but pretty much mostly south. So it's blowing right at the front of our truck, and it's really hurting our efficiency. So as far as being able to beat my 0.8 miles per kilowatt hour average efficiency, I don't think that's going to happen on this trip. There's too much wind, it's raining, it's been raining the whole time. So we're going to get off right here. So this time we're going to stop at the Rivian Adventure Network here in Pooler, Georgia. And we're going to charge up. This will be the last charging stop before we get to our campground, where we're going to stay over for the day and then continue our trip. And strangely enough, at the Tesla Supercharger that we were just at, it was 4 o'clock in the morning and Tesla started showing up. 2 Cybertrucks and a Model 3. Go figure. So thankfully we didn't need to stay there too long and charge.
In a quarter mile, use the left lane to turn left onto Tanger Outlets Boulevard. In 1,000 feet, turn left onto Outlet Parkway.
I think this is going to be, no, it's going to be further up. Be nice if GM gave you the option to have the blind spot camera either in the driver's display or in the main display. It certainly can be bigger in the main display, but when you're navigating, it might be preferable to have it in the driver's display instead. Let's see what this Rivian is up to. Hopefully he's not broken down. So let me get plugged in and I'll give you guys the numbers, see how we're doing so far. Okay, everyone, so we're charging. We're getting 300 kilowatt again here at the Rivian Adventure Network charger. Let's go ahead and take a look at our efficiency so far. Again, I told you about the huge headwind that we're facing between 12 and 15 miles an hour. I'll try to put an image up on the screen. I did a screen capture of the weather, but it was blowing right at the front of the car. So hopefully we got 107 more miles to go to get to the campground where we're gonna get some R&R. And then hopefully when we get back on the road again, we won't have that headwind anymore. But right now I've gone 299.3 miles and I'm averaging 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Pretty good, I think, considering it's been pouring down rain and we've got a 15 mile an hour headwind. So that's where we're at right now. We need to charge up here to probably about 60 to 65% and get back on the road. We've got 107 miles to go till we get to the campground for some R&R. So I'll see you when we get back on the road. Well, hello everyone. So we're here at the Outside In campground. It's raining. It's been raining the whole time, but I'm really tired, by the way. But we're gonna just take a look at our efficiency here real quick. So if I go into vehicle status, trip 2, you can see we've gone, well, my trailer is still acting up. So here on trip 2, we've gone 409 miles exactly. Now, due to all the rain and the 15-mile-an-hour headwind, we did average around 0.6 miles per kilowatt hour. So that dropped our overall efficiency down for this return trip to 0.7. So that's where we're at right now. We are charging up here level 2, and later on tonight, we will complete the rest of the return trip back to Maryland.
Later that night.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. You're picking up with us. We just left the Outside In campground, and we're continuing our trip back to Maryland. We charged up to about 62%, 61%. It's showing that we have a 103-mile range, and we have to go 83 miles to get to the Mercedes-Benz charger at the Buc-ee's in Florence, South Carolina. So we should be good there. I'm going to check the wind, and as I suspected, we still have a headwind. It's showing right now of 14 miles per hour. Not expecting any improvement in our efficiency over what we had earlier in the day. But nonetheless, I'm going to try to keep it around 60, and I will pick up with you guys when we get to the Mercedes charger, and we'll see how we do there. It's been raining constant all day long. We have like a nor'easter or something over the region here, so I don't expect that to let up either. It's probably going to rain for the duration of our trip. Okay, everyone, so you're joining me. We're about 2.5 miles from the Buc-ee's, where we're going to visit the Mercedes charger. It is 11:50 p.m., so I'm hoping there's not going to be too many people at the chargers charging, so it won't be too much of an issue for us pulling up and blocking a couple chargers. My efficiency, my last mile efficiency has been pegged at 0.6 miles per kilowatt hour pretty much the whole time. And as you can see, it's just pouring down rain. We still got a headwind of about 15 miles per hour. So kind of worst case scenario for towing this large travel trailer. But we're getting ready to get off here, and we'll see what the charger looks like. I love these Mercedes chargers because they get great speed, up to 400 kilowatt. And on the way down here, I was actually able to see over 360 kilowatt going into the battery, up to like 30% state of charge, which is just absolutely amazing. And these are the chargers right here. So I'm gonna pull in. Thankfully, it looks like we showed up at a good time. Chargers are not busy at all. And by pulling up this way, I only have to block, I think, 2 additional chargers in order to get charging here. All right, so this is it. We're gonna charge here, hopefully get some really good speed, and then get back on the road and continue our trip. All right, everyone, so our next stop is gonna be the Pilot Flying J in Kenly, North Carolina. It's gonna have us charge here, and I'm gonna go in and we're gonna look at our numbers. So let's go into our vehicle status. We're gonna look at our trip. And you can see we've now gone 496.3 miles. We're averaging 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Obviously, we're in a worst case scenario here. We've got, well, not really worst case, but the wind is pretty bad. 15 mile an hour headwind is significant. We've also got pouring rain the whole time, both overnight last night, and tonight it's going to be the same deal. So I'm expecting, unfortunately, for this trip back to Maryland, I'm expecting it to be lower, significantly lower than my 0.8, unfortunately. But that's where we are. I am getting 356 kilowatt here at the Mercedes charger in Florence, South Carolina. It was all the way up to 360 at one point. And so it's charging very, very quickly here. So that's one good thing we have going for us. But anyway, guys, I'll catch up with you when we get closer to Kenly and give you an update on where we are. All right, so we're getting off here. This is going to be the Pilot Flying J in Kenly, North Carolina.
106.
We've been here a couple times before. This is a pull-through GM Energy charger.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Truck Stop Road.
Shouldn't be too many EVs here charging. It's 3:30 in the morning. All right, so this is really weird. I turned left. I selected the wrong pilot station. There's actually one on the other side when you turn right. And this is the only one that has the GM Energy EV charging. So I got really scared for a minute there because I thought I wasn't going to have any place to charge. But we do. And here we go. And we'll just pull up our camera view here. We've got our trailer view, so this shows us both sides of the truck so we can kind of see what the trailer's doing. Make sure we don't clip anything with the trailer. And so we're here. I'm going to plug in and then we'll take a look at our numbers. Okay, so trailer is still acting up. Something's wrong with my 7-way connector. When I get back, I'm going to try to put some dielectric grease on there, see if that helps it. But it's been yelling at me the whole time on the way down, on the way back. But it has been raining, so I just think some moisture is getting in there. But let's go into our trip meter here. We go into our trip meter, we can see that we've gone 633.8 miles so far, and our efficiency is still holding at 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Again, on this leg of the trip, I was seeing 0.6 shown on the last mile efficiency pretty much the whole time due to the rain and the headwind. I'm going to go back on my phone here and check on the wind, see what the wind is doing now. And the wind has actually gotten worse. I'm not sure if you can see this, but the wind has actually gotten worse. So we're heading north back to Maryland, and the wind is blowing south, tiny bit west, south and west, but mostly just south at 18 miles an hour now. So really strong headwind there. Really been blowing the trailer around quite a bit. Let me go also into my car scanner app and let's see what the energy consumption has been so far. And again, I'll put this up on the screen so you can see it a little bit better. But here I am in my dashboard, and we can see that this is showing me my pack voltages. But what I really want is my charge cycle energy usage. This is what I really like to look at. So this is telling me I've used 849 kilowatt hours since the last time I fully charged the vehicle. I've regenerated 8 kilowatt hours, and thermal management has consumed 18 kilowatt hours. Total energy usage so far, 867 kilowatt hours. Now remember, it did not reset, and we are showing 634 miles. So it didn't reset from yesterday to today. So this is the entire trip back, 634 miles, and that's been my energy consumption so far. Now I am going to need to add an additional charging stop. When I originally planned this trip, I had scheduled to go directly from here in Kenly all the way to Richmond. That's about 170 miles, and that's going to be a little too much to go with the headwind and with the rain. And the temperatures may actually cool off a little bit as well the further north we get. So I don't think it's a good idea for us to try to go all the way to the Richmond Electrify America. I think we're going to have to stop off somewhere before then and just charge at least a little bit to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a bad situation. Okay, something else I wanted to note, folks. I just got a warning on my display, and here we can see charging is slower than expected. This truck did get the update, that latest update that's supposed to improve the reliability of the thermal management and all that. Climate control still affects the charging speed. So it's telling me charging is slower than expected. Turn off climate control features to charge faster. I'm charging at 166 kilowatt currently. So let me go ahead and toggle this off and let's see how that affects the charging speed. In some cases when I've done this, folks, it's been a pretty dramatic difference. I'm up to 191 kilowatt now, 193. We'll see how much of an improvement I get just by turning off that climate control. I'm up to 208, 209, 210, 223, 225 kilowatt. And it's still going. So 167 kilowatt, and just by turning off the climate control, I'm all the way back up to almost 260 kilowatt now. So 100 kilowatt difference, possibly more than that, just by turning off the climate control. I'm not really sure what that's all about. This is the first EV that I've ever been in, 270 kilowatt, by the way. First EV I've ever been in where the climate control has this dramatic effect on the DC fast charging speed, 280 kilowatt. So hopefully, I don't know if GM can do something with software, but this is an issue. If it's really cold outside, or if it's the summertime and it's really hot, you're going to have to park this thing and leave the car. You're definitely not going to be able to sit in it and get the maximum charging speed. So we're up over 300 kilowatt now just by turning off the climate control. Yeah, we're going to have to try to figure out from GM why there's such a dramatic difference when that climate control is on. But anyway, I'm going to try to find another charger that's trailer friendly for us to stop at before we get to Richmond. All right, everyone. So we're going to stop at the largest Tesla supercharger on the East Coast in Halifax. Now, I've actually been to this charger before when it was just V3, but now they have, in addition to the 12 V3 chargers, they have 48 V4 superchargers that are capable of 325 kilowatt, 800 volt charging. So this is going to be a great stop for us. We have the Tesla membership, so it'll be cheaper than GM Energy, and it'll allow us to get to the Richmond charger with plenty of energy to spare, which will keep us from getting ourselves into an unsafe situation. So we're going to head up there now, and I'll check in with you guys again when we get closer to the largest Tesla supercharger on the East Coast. All right, everyone, so we're getting ready to get off here at the Halifax supercharger. And the rain has started back up again, unfortunately. And my last mile efficiency is still saying 0.6. I'm guessing mainly due to the headwind that we've been facing the whole time on the way back. But we're getting ready to get off. Now, I haven't been to this charger in a good while. And since the last time I was here at this charger, they've actually dramatically expanded it. So it'll be interesting to see what they've done with it. And it's telling me I'm drowsy. Do I look drowsy to you? I don't feel drowsy.
Then turn left onto North Carolina 903.
Oh yeah. There's been some major changes to this place since the last time we were here. Yeah, there's a lot of chargers here.
Then turn right.
It probably should have gone through, well, I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna go around this way. Should be able to get to the other side of the chargers here. Hopefully. Looks like there's a Tesla over there charging. And we have a pull-through up here. So, I'm gonna try to pull up to it.
Your destination is on the right.
And let's take a look at my, all right, that looks good. I think I should be lined right up to it back here right now. So we're gonna get out and plug in and test out this V4 Tesla Supercharger. All right, so I have 21% state of charge. Looks like we're getting 172 kilowatt here. I was really hoping we would do a little better than this. We should be able to get up to 325 kilowatt. But I don't think it did any preconditioning on the way to this supercharger, so that may be hindering us in getting the maximum speed here a bit. But let's go ahead and check in on our statistics. Now, we only went 62 miles since Kenly, North Carolina. So let me go into my trip meter here. You can see that we've gone 696.7 miles, and we're still averaging 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. It was still locked in because of that headwind at about 0.6 miles per kilowatt hour on my last mile efficiency. So again, I'm not too upset with that number given the headwind, given all the rain. The rain started picking up again. So anyway, this is where we are. It looks like I'm getting 175 kilowatt. Now, at a normal V3 Tesla Supercharger, I would get around 180 kilowatt. So we'll see if I get above that here. I really need to charge up a good amount here to get to Richmond, the Richmond EA station. So I'm hoping we get above 175. If we do, I'll check back in with you guys, but otherwise, I will check in with you when we get to the next charging stop.
Take exit
All right, everyone, so we're going to get off here. It's going to be the Richmond Electrify America. This is one of the busier chargers. And we are coming up on 8 a.m., but it is a Sunday morning. So I'm hoping it won't be too busy.
Light right onto the ramp to US 1, then merge
Last time I checked the app, it said one charger was in use, one of 8. So we'll have to see.
Merge onto Wilmer Avenue, then slight right.
As I said, this is a notoriously busy charging station. And I had hoped to get in here much earlier in the morning to lower the likelihood that the charger would be busy.
Take the next right, then turn right.
Got one car there, and he's parked at the end charger, where I really would like to pull up, but it's what it is. And if somebody pulls up, we're just gonna have to move. But let me get hooked up and we'll take a look at numbers. Okay, everyone, so we're just gonna take a quick look here. We've gone 795 miles, again with the headwind, 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. And when I go to the map, we are 141 miles from our destination. So I'm gonna go into our car scanner app. And when I go into our car scanner app and I look at our energy usage, so let me go back here. We know how much wind and rain, and the temperatures are a little bit cooler. So the ambient is now 64. We've used a lot more energy. So far on this trip, we've only regenerated 9 miles, but we've used 1,069 kilowatt hours for driving and accessories. 27 kilowatt hours has gone to thermal management. So we've used a total of 1,096 kilowatt hours so far, and our mileage matches almost exactly what our trip meter says, 796 miles. So we're gonna try to charge up here. We need to get to between 85 and 90% to reach our destination because of all the wind and the rain and the cooler temperatures. So we're going to try to do that unless this charger gets really busy. If it starts getting really busy, we'll make one more stop. So I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit and we'll figure out if we need to stop once more or if we're going to try to make it all the way to our destination. All right, everyone. So we decided we were going to stop, and we're going to stop off for our last stop at a Rivian Adventure Network charger. We need about 100 miles of range to get back to our destination. It's currently showing that we have 79 miles of range, so we won't need to charge up much here, but we don't want to run it all the way down and risk running out of juice, so we're going to do that. The rain did stop, but we still have a headwind going north. All right, so we're here at the Rivian Adventure Network charger in Fredericksburg, Virginia. This is a pretty nice site. I can zoom out a little bit here. So we've got 5 chargers, and then we've got one where we can kind of pull up. So if I walk back here, you can see how I'm situated here. So, pretty nice site. Let's see what the cost is. I have a feeling this is going to be a bit expensive. So, let's try this. So this is 54 cents for Rivian vehicles and 64 cents for non-Rivian vehicles. Thankfully, we're not going to be charging up much here. This is pretty pricey. 64 cents per kilowatt hour. Be a very expensive, second most expensive fill up that I've had on the Silverado. Okay, so we're just going to go over the numbers so far. This will be the final update, and then I'll go over all the energy information as well as the efficiency information at the end. But we've gone 845.1 miles, and we've averaged 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Most of that due to the weather. So we're gonna charge up only as much as we need to here because this is expensive, 64 cents per kilowatt hour. So we're gonna charge up only as much as we need to, and then we're gonna get to our final destination. Okay, everyone, well, we made it. We finally made it. Let's go ahead and look at our numbers here. Our final numbers for the trip. So 940.9 miles for the return trip, average 0.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Again, I think that's pretty good considering the heavy rains and the strong headwind we were going into the whole time. The next thing I want to do as well is look at the total energy consumed. At the end of this video, I'll also go over my charging costs, and I'll compare that to the charging costs from when we drove it in the summer. Significantly less mileage due to the cooler temperatures, the headwind, and the rain. And I'll show you that back in the summer, we were able to drive from our home all the way to Emporia, Virginia, a little over 200 miles, like 213 miles. And we were able to do that on a 100% charge, and we still had like 3% left over. We would have never been able to do that at this point. Now, you can see my 100% charge says 197 miles. At one point when the rain was really heavy and the winds were really strong, like 18 miles an hour, it was telling me 164 miles on a 100% charge. So you can see a lot of variation in your towing range if the temperatures are cooler, if you have something like rain or other inclement weather, and you have high winds. So just be aware of that. The best efficiency is likely going to happen in the summertime when the temperatures are warmer and the battery is able to be nice and warm most of the time. Lastly, let's look at the energy consumed. It's going to be high compared to what we consumed on the way down. So our totals for the return trip, regenerative braking, we regenerated 19 miles of range. Driving and accessories consumed 1,238 kilowatt hours of energy. We used 34 kilowatt hours for thermal management. So our grand total for the return trip, 1,273 kilowatt hours. And the distance since full charge on car scanner shows 941 miles. I probably wouldn't take such a long trip in October again, just due to the amount of charging we had to do due to the cooler weather, wind, and rain. So something to be aware of. Have you towed with your electric truck? If so, let us know down in the comments section what your experience has been. Remember to like, click on subscribe, and when you subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified anytime we add new content. Hug the people you love, and we will see you next time. I don't see the GM Energy charger here. What the hell? I think we must have come to the wrong place.